get eliminated completely. Some things get ramped up. The programs you keep, you think about how can you overhaul it and modernize it. One example, and it's kind of nitty-gritty, but it'll give you a sense of what I'm talking about. There's 300,000 insurance agents in California that sell insurance. Now, you can't sell insurance in California unless you get a license from me and my team at the Department of Insurance. And every 2 years, you got to get your license renewed. And we do a criminal background check before we do it. We want to make sure that people who are selling insurance aren't criminals. And they have to take a little test, make sure that they're up on the latest. Now, before I got to be insurance commissioner, it was all paper-based renewal process. I mean, hundreds of thousands. I mean, it's just 300,000. You know, it's 150,000 a year. You know, kind of spaced out. I automated the whole thing. So instead of taking months to renew your license, it takes days. So that's the kind of overhaul and modernization that I'm talking about. In addition to sort of rethinking the philosophy of what programs should government be in the first place. Now, it's one thing having a safety net for people if they really get in a major jam. It's another thing people creating an entire way of life around being on welfare. So, you know, you can be on welfare for 5 years in California. Now, hang on a second. That's not a safety net. That is a way of life. Now, in some states, they've been wise enough to reduce that to 2 years. That's what we're going to do here. We have to. And of course, there'll be huge pushback from liberals. Oh, my goodness, how can you hurt these people? But now, see, this is a very special opportunity, very special time in California. We are out of money. We are broke. We are bankrupt. And every dollar that's spent on welfare with these rich benefits is a dollar coming right out of something else. And now you can have a dialogue with people. We don't have the money. Where do you want to spend it? Do you want to spend it in the public schools, or do you want to spend it on people who are just living off of welfare and not following the work rules? So you have to work to be on welfare, and it's welfare to work. And believe it or not, 62% of all the people on welfare in California don't work at all because the rules aren't enforced. We're going to fix that too.
I want to speak to that point. California has been operating in brink of disaster aversion mode for so long now that the electorate's kind of gotten used to it. And I was wondering if you think that this current economic crisis, not the national one, the California one, which is worse than the national one, has finally gotten the voters here to the point where they understand that there have to be spending. I can't get a read on it at all yet. Do you think that the voters finally get that the status quo is no longer sustainable?
They're getting there. And I got to tell you, that's why I'm interested in running for governor right now. I don't think the voters were there a year or 2 or 3 years ago. And I don't think the voters are quite there yet now. But unfortunately, there really hasn't been the right kind of leadership that will tell the truth. Now, Schwarzenegger, we thought that could have been. You know, he had a lot of the right language there early on, and then he quickly bounced up. He actually hurt the cause because, you know, you say you weren't going to raise taxes, and you say you're going to do all these cutting, you're going to blow up all these boxes, and you didn't do it. Does that mean it wasn't really a problem? I mean, people are confused now. But now that they've seen, you know, the meltdown in California, people are really worried here. I mean, worried about losing their houses and their jobs, and the anxiety level is super high. Polling, you know, a lot of polls come out, and they always ask, the first question is, are we on the right track or the wrong track? We're close to 85% wrong track now, which could be a record. Both parties. I'm telling you, this is a very special opportunity to finally educate voters because they're hungry for solutions, and then to lay out a vision to how to fix the problems. You can't just lay out problems, and they want problem solvers. So you lay out a solution. You know, politics is about timing. You know, frankly, I just couldn't be in the right place at the right time as anything more significant than we are right now, in the sense of people have had it with celebrities. They really want problem solvers. They're skeptical about things that are said by politicians and candidates. They're going to really zero in on track record. And the fact that I've actually run companies successfully for 20 years, and now I have 8 years of success in politics and public sector service, I have what they're looking for. I'm not a rookie, because, you know, they don't want to send some rookie again to Sacramento. But I'm not a career politician either, which, you know, people despise. People who spend their professional lives just, you know, being politicians. Got that right mix, and I'm excited about this because these windows of opportunity to really go after big, bold structural reform, that didn't come along very often. We're in one right now.
Steve, the Sacramento Bee actually had an interesting analysis of the problem with tax revenues in the state, and said that the problem is arising because the state of California relies on a far too progressive tax system here, and that it's relying on basically the top 200,000 families, which tend to be investor class, and so they're very up or they're very down, and the state really can't have reliable tax revenue predictions, which is one of the reasons why they're having all the problems with the budget right now. What are your proposals to deal with the California tax code? Are you looking to flatten it out somewhat, and you have any thoughts along those lines?
Well, I definitely support a flatter, simpler tax code. But my initial tax proposal, I think, is more politically viable. And so my approach is, let's just cut all the tax brackets. And let's just stay away from the huge brouhaha that would erupt when you try to flatten things. Now, I support flattening. So if I ever have an opportunity to flatten and simplify, I'm going to go for it. But my initial focus is,